Welcome, friends, to the animation experience at Conservation Station. Since the 1930s, Disney animators have put their pencils to paper in service of the idea that the greatest inspiration often comes from the magic of nature. Walt Disney himself understood the importance of spending time around animals, studying their behavior and personalities in order to create realistic characters and dynamic storylines. This meeting of the human and animal worlds sparked a legacy of storytelling that has shaped our relationship with animals and conservation forever. Today, we invite you to become a part of that legacy as our own Disney artists help you learn to sketch characters inspired by the very animals found here at Disney's Animal Kingdom. Get your pencils ready, because here comes our animation artist now.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the animation experience here at Conservation Station. How's everybody doing today? Great. Awesome. Who is here for the very first time to our animation experience? Ooh, a lot of newbies. Very cool. For those of you that have been here before, welcome back. For the new folks, let's go through a quick checklist to make sure you have everything you need to draw a character here with us today. Like a clipboard, a piece of paper, a pencil, and a little bit of inspiration. And that inspiration comes from the animals that inspire many of our classic animated characters. Walt Disney would inspire his animators by bringing live animals into the studio for them to study and learn about. And we should do the same thing, right? Bring a warthog right here into the theater with us. A big old 300-pound adult male warthog, have him just run around so you can get a good look at all those tusks and the hair and the hooves, and show you that snout that he uses to dig with. Unfortunately, we can't do that because I don't know how many of you out here might be allergic to warthogs. Yeah, we take allergies very seriously here at Walt Disney World. If you have a food allergy, you've gone to any of the restaurants, you know what I'm talking about. And because of potential warthog allergies, instead of bringing one here into the theater with us, we sent film crews over to Kilimanjaro Safaris, where you can see the warthogs here in the park. They got some video footage of them, and we put together our inspiration for you, allergy-free, up on screen. Take a look.
Meet Bodhi. Bodhi is a big warthog. Okay, a really big warthog. With his stature and curved upper tusks, he has been known to be intimidating to other warthogs. Don't let his size fool you. He is a gentle giant with Charo and Reagan, whom he shares his home. Bodhi greets the females with a unique vocalization that sounds like an old tractor engine. The keepers say it is a male warthog's endearing way of saying, "Reagan, what's up? You look good." Since his arrival, Bodhi has even become a father. His first litter is grown and has moved on to start families of their own. You can find the warthogs on the Kilimanjaro Safaris, usually rooting around looking for snacks.
And I'm going to bury these in the dirt, let them try to find it. They have a very good sense of smell.
The keepers carefully hide or bury the food items, encouraging the animals to use their keen sense of smell and cognitive skills. That's right, cognitive skills. Warthogs are very smart and can solve complex tasks. You can tell Bodhi apart from the females because he has the longest tusks and warts on his face. If that is not enough for you to spot him, he clearly has the coolest hairdo on the savannah. Sup, Bodhi? You look good.
All right, is everybody inspired? Awesome. A couple last minute things before we get started. Should you need something like a new pencil, a new piece of paper, or a clipboard, maybe you're feeling a little discouraged, possibly frustrated and upset, and you want crayons and coloring sheets. Or maybe your kids are getting frustrated and upset and they want crayons and coloring sheets. Throw your hand up in the air. One of my friends around the theater will be happy to come on by and help you out with whatever you need. If you have to exit early for any reason, or need to use the restroom for those particular reasons, head to the left toward the sign that says exit in the illuminated red letters with the little arrow pointing to the exit. I know, usually when you see an exit sign like that, it's over a fake door or a train tunnel painted on a wall. This one actually leads to a real exit. I know, this is probably the first time you've ever seen anything like that. Blows your mind. It's a prototype. Hopefully, it will spread to other places around the parks, maybe even the world. Exit signs near actual exits. So, you've seen it here first. Remember that. Exit that way if you need to head on out. And finally, face covers. Please make sure you have them on. Make sure you're wearing them properly, covering your nose, your chin, everything in between that you breathe through. If you are a mermaid, which is very possible here at Walt Disney World, cover your gills. If you have learned some far Eastern technique and can now breathe through your ears or your eyeballs, cover them as well. Anything that you breathe through should be covered while indoors here at Walt Disney World. All right, with that said, let's begin and let's draw the very cute, the very lovable Pumbaa, the warthog. And we're going to start with his nose. And we got this little short line right here, just below the top of our big oval. And that's going to help us to place his nose. If you want, from the ends, you can even make a little light guideline going all the way down to that really long one in the middle and make a little box. You don't have to, but that'll kind of give us the idea of where his nose is going to go, because it'll be a little bit wider than that. I'm going to start it, though, right here at the top center with a little hill, a little bit off-center, because Pumbaa's nose is not perfectly symmetrical. So really light, barely touching the piece of paper with my pencil, and draw a little curve right here. You may have noticed that your commemorative 50th anniversary pencils say Dixon on them. Apparently we got the wrong batch. They were supposed to say 50th anniversary Walt Disney World, but they are the right golden color, so keep them as a free souvenir. You didn't have to fight anybody in a gift shop to get them. But they don't have erasers on them, so keep your lines light, keep them messy. We got our little curve there. We're going to draw kind of the shape of a Hershey kiss, about a third of the way up from that long line here at the bottom, just a little bit wider than our box. And put that little curve there and connect it to my little hill. On this side, and a little bit wider, I'm going to add a little dip. It's going to be a little asymmetrical. You know, Pumbaa is not going to see one of those fancy Beverly Hills plastic surgeons to get some rhinoplasty done. He doesn't need that. His snout is for smelling things and also for digging. Warthogs use that shovel-like snout to dig for roots and tubers and bugs underground. So he's using it as a tool, not to look pretty. So you got that little asymmetrical top there. The bottom of his nose is going to curve to that next short line underneath. So we'll swing it down and across that line. And that's going to give us the shape of his nose. This kind of slightly melted Hershey's kiss. And once we have the shape of that nose, we go in and start to darken it up. And that's the secret to drawing stuff without an eraser. You keep it light, you keep it messy, make mistakes. Too many people take this way too seriously, thinking that if they make a perfect drawing, we're going to hire you on the spot and send you out to California to be our next lead animator. I don't have that power. As much as I wish I did, I don't. So treat it like it's the first day of kindergarten, not like you're presenting your doctoral thesis. So now we've got the shape of his nose. We're going to give him some nostrils. Because like I said, they've got a great sense of smell. And we're going to give him these nice big nostrils. Think of a big oval or a grape sitting here right here in the large section of his nose. And nice and light. We'll do another one over here. And again, the nostrils don't have to be symmetrical. But they do need to be pretty darn big. Big nostrils. I'm going to turn that oval into a number 6. Add a little curve here at the top. And I'm going to start to darken in the shape of the nostril. So get this kind of wonky looking number 6. And on this side, it's going to be a little backwards number 6. There are his nostrils, then we can shade those in. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just a quick rough scribble through, just to show that there's not a lot of light going into his nose. You just want to be careful to stay inside the lines. Anything that goes outside the lines might look funny, but it's not. And that's a little bit of a running gag that we've got here. So now we've got his nostrils. Let's start to work further back along his face, and we're going to add his upper lip. And his upper lip is going to start here at the bottom of the nose. And it kind of looks like a little backwards letter D as it curves up toward the edge of our circle, or oval shape, and then down just a little bit above the nose. Now the reason we're doing this for his upper lip is because he's got tusks. And those tusks are going to stick out through his upper lip. So, you know, if you have something in your mouth like a carrot or a pencil, your lip will curl around it. So this is his lip curling around his tusk, because his tusks are just overgrown teeth. We'll do the same thing on this side. And again, it doesn't have to be symmetrical. So, you know what? I'm going to make this one actually come out and not touch the edge of my oval, and then curve over, just because I can. And because that's the way the animators drew him. So he's nice and asymmetrical. Tusks don't match up. And again, just like his nose, he's not going to a dentist to get his teeth fixed. He's a warthog. Nice curl in his upper lip. And then to draw in those tusks, we're actually going to start by giving him a dimple. Because Pumbaa is a very cute, very lovable character. He's a really happy guy. You know, loyal to a fault. Not the brightest, but he is incredibly lovable. So we're going to give him a cute little dimple right here at the end of that guideline across the top of his nose, one on each side. A little curve. Now we're going to draw letter J. From that dimple, curving into his upper lip. This little letter J shape coming down this way. And I guess a backwards letter J on this side. Now if you imagine that letter J continues through his upper lip, now swing his tusk up right here to the end of that long guideline. Make it a little bit longer as we round out the tip. And then copy that same curve, swinging right back into his upper lip. And right where it touches that blue line. That'll give us the shape of his tusk. Now, we don't want it to be sharp and pointy, because remember, Pumbaa is a hero character. And we don't want our hero characters to appear too dangerous or threatening looking. So we'll keep that nice and round. And warthogs actually use these large upper tusks more for digging and burrowing. Warthogs are actually the largest burrowing animals on the planet. So they can dig a really nice burrow, but they actually prefer to steal it from other animals like aardvarks, because why do the work yourself when an aardvark can do it for you? But if they need to, they can burrow on their own. For his other tusk, again, same thing. I'm just going to bring it out a little bit past that guideline there. And follow that backwards letter J. Make it swing out a little bit more to about the same height. And then swing it right back down and into his upper lip. So there's that other tusk.
Yours looks great, Lily.
Put a little crease, a little wrinkle right in there. There are his upper tusks. Let's work on his lower lip and the bottom part of his mouth next. So the lower lip, I'm going to start kind of right here where the upper lip meets the guideline. I'm going to swing down to that next lowest line over here. And as I come across, bring it out and then make a sharp turn right back into his upper lip. It almost looks like he's got his jaw shifted over to the side, sticking it out a little bit. So there's that lower lip. Now, one thing that is missing from Pumbaa that you saw on Bodhi up there in the video are the lower tusks. Those really sharp, almost knife-like tusks that stick straight out. That's what warthogs use to defend themselves. And it's also what they use to fight for dominance with other warthogs with. But that makes him look too dangerous, too much like a villain. So instead of having those nice sharp lower tusks, Pumbaa has a little marshmallow-shaped tooth. I'll put a little marshmallow right there inside of his lower lip. We'll also add a little curve here to give a hint of his tongue. And we can shade in the back of his mouth around it. So, no lower tusks, and just a little marshmallow. And accent that lower lip. So put a little curve right underneath. The next part is probably one of the most challenging things we're going to do when we draw Pumbaa here today, and that is to create his chin. He's got a very large chin. So I'm going to start right here where our tusk meets our oval, and I'm going to trace the oval all the way down to that center line. Whew. All right, that was hard. The next step, we're actually going to mirror the curve of his lower lip here, so I'm just going to bring it inside the edge of my oval a little bit. Draw that same line, a little bit bigger, maybe sticking out past the oval, and as we swing it around, kind of blend it right back into the curve of the oval. So it just sticks out a little bit so that his chin matches a little jut of his lower lip. There we go, there's the bottom half of Pumbaa's head. Now we can start to work on the top half. I'm going to zoom in a little bit because he's got these really small eyes, and they're going to sit right up here between my two horizontal lines. Warthogs don't have really good eyesight. So his eyes are going to be pretty small. Right here where that line touches the edge of our oval, we make a little circle. It's really, really light. On each side there. Nice little circle shape. And then, because he's got these cute little dimples, we're going to push his cheeks up against the bottom of his eye, like when you smile really big. So I'm going to draw that same curve as our dimple, just right across the bottom of his eye. So there's his cheek pushing up against the eye. Nice little curve. And that looks like a little sunset or sunrise coming up over a hill on each side. And we can darken in the top of his eyeball above his cheek. I'm going to thicken up the curve here at the top a little bit to give him a little hint of some eyelashes. Because he is a mammal, he has hair and fur. So we'll give him some eyelashes to help keep stuff out of his eyes. And then really little teeny tiny circles for pupils. Little bitty pupils. Because like I said, they don't have good eyesight. Their sense of smell and their sense of hearing are phenomenal, but their eyes not so much. Little tiny pupils, and add a little circle or oval up there in the top of the pupil, and shade in the rest to add a little twinkle or sparkle of light in his eye. on each side there. There we go, there are his eyes. Above the eye, we put a little curve to give him a hint of an eyelid. And then we're going to add something warthogs are famous for. Probably the most important thing you think of when you think of a warthog: expressive eyebrows. Right? No? Yeah, warthogs don't have expressive eyebrows. But he's an animated character, and we want him to be able to show emotion and expression. So we're going to add a little eyebrow, and just kind of follow the curve of that eyelid up and over the eye, and just rest it right near the edge of the oval. We'll do the same thing on this side. Curve it up and over, pretty close to the edge of the oval without actually touching it. So there are his eyebrows. Now between the eyebrows and the tusks, we're going to add warts. Wouldn't be a warthog without them. And their warts are actually deposits of fat, kind of like the pads that a football player or a hockey player would wear to protect themselves. Well, that's what the warts do when warthogs are fighting for dominance or trying to defend themselves against predators. So we're going to draw the same shape as our eyebrow there, a little rounded triangle coming in toward the edge of my oval. And we can darken in a little bit of the oval around it. Old warts here on the side. We'll do the same thing over here. A little triangular wart on each side. And another way warthogs protect themselves is by diving into their burrows. But they're not going to go in head first. They're going to go in butt first. Why would they do that? Because if a predator is trying to come in that burrow after them, the first thing they're going to run into are those razor-sharp lower tusks. And trust me, you don't want to mess with those. So warthogs will have their own home security system called tusks. And again, we'll just curve from our little wart as if we're trying to connect it to his chin there. So now we've got the warts on the side, we've got the tusks. Let's finish up the top of his head. And this is the toughest part of the drawing right here. I'm going to darken in the oval between my eyebrows. Whew, there you go. That was hard. And if we zoom out a little bit more so we can see the entire image of his head, we still need to give him ears. And his ears are pretty big. They look like a capital letter D turned backwards. So I'm going to start that here, right here along the side of his eyebrow, reaching almost up to the edge of my piece of paper. Up there so you can see the top of the page. I get pretty close, and I'm going to swing it around right about where the eyebrow touches our wart to get this big backwards capital letter D. We're going to do the same thing on the other side, except we're going to turn it this way. So starting here where the eyebrow touches the guideline, a nice big letter D on this side. That gives us a pretty good shape for his ears. Now for this one, I'm going to add a little curve on the inside, making it look almost like we're drawing a banana. Think of this as like a nice little banana shape sticking out. This is going to be the outside of his ear. So a little banana, and just a little bit inside that D, and draw another straight line. So there's the inside part of his ear.
You are. You're fine.
And then the other part of the outside, as it connects back to his head, another little curve right there. So inside, and there's the outside of his ear. So he can hear stuff. On this ear, almost the same thing. I'm kind of drawing a little banana shape. I'm not going to connect it back to his eyebrow yet. I'm just going to stop right above it and then make a V coming out to the edge. This ear's turned a little bit differently. There's the inside of his ear, and then the outside of his ear coming right back to the eyebrow, and on this side, and a little bit of a curve, maybe even add a wrinkle there to show that bend in his ear. So now I've got 2 ears so he can hear stuff. And the last thing he needs at the very top of his head, we'll add in some hair. Now, Bodhi had great hair. Bodhi has probably better hair than I do, better hair than a lot of us, because he is a supermodel warthog. Pumbaa, no, he's just got a mane, like a mohawk running from the top of his head down his neck. Like a horse's mane or a hyena's mane. So, seeing it from the front, we're just going to have this big mess of hair. Just start with a little curve, kind of right in the middle, just to mark that little hair sticking right up in the middle. And then on each side, have a little fun with it. Throw in some messy hair going off toward his ears. Maybe even throw in a little hair or two sticking out behind his ears. But there you go. There's Pumbaa's hair. And when you find the hair that you like, some can be big, some can be short, some are skinny, some are thicker. Darken it in. Maybe even throw in a few little curves to show that it's pulling up from his scalp. And you can shade it in a little bit because Pumbaa's got a nice jet black mane. And it doesn't have to be completely filled in. It's nice and rough. And there you go. There's a quick sketch of Pumbaa. Oh, and we can also add in a couple of wrinkles here above his snout. Make him look a little more three-dimensional. But once you're finished, congratulations, you have just drawn a warthog. Now, unlike a lot of animals here, warthogs not endangered, but they are being monitored closely because of the way that they eat, their digging habits. They do pose a nuisance for farmers, and farmers in Africa have actually learned to solve the elephant problem because you can't keep an elephant out with a fence unless it's made of bees. Because elephants don't like bees, so they've created beehive fences. And they're still working on the warthog problem, but once they learn to keep warthogs out of their farms, that conflict with warthogs will probably subside, and warthogs can go back to their normal lives. But encroachment on their habitat, and the big one is, of course, conflict with human farmers. That is the reason warthog numbers are declining, but not significantly enough to make them endangered as of yet. But it is being monitored. So hopefully one day we'll have a solution to the warthog pest problem, so humans and warthogs can live happily. But when you are finished, put your name on there. Be proud of him, whether he is horrible or adorable. You created him. You brought him to life the same way that our classic Disney animators did. So you are part of that animation legacy. Put him on a fridge when you get home. Your fridge, a friend's fridge, a fridge at Lowe's or Home Depot. Put him on a fridge somewhere. It doesn't matter where, as long as it's on a refrigerator. The pencils, like I said, commemorative 50th anniversary Walt Disney World pencils are yours to keep forever and ever. If you don't want them, put them in the bin as you exit, and we'll turn them into 50th anniversary mulch. The clipboards, please leave against the back of the seats just the way you found them, so we can make sure they're in the right place for the next class coming in behind you. Take your personal belongings with you, exit toward the left, and enjoy the rest of your adventures here at Disney's Animal Kingdom. Happy holidays. Bye-bye, everybody.
Thank you all for joining us in the animation experience at Conservation Station. Please gather your personal belongings before exiting, and remember to take your artwork with you. We hope you enjoy the rest of your visit at Rafiki's Planet and the rest of your adventure here at Disney's Animal Kingdom. Goodbye.